Best Buy pushes ahead with its healthcare strategy by acquiring Current Health. Best Buy said Tuesday that it struck an agreement to acquire Current Health, a tech company that helps it with remote patient monitoring and telehealth. It already owns two other healthcare companies. With the move, the retailer is pushing further into a sector that CEO Corey Barry frequently describes as a growth opportunity. So I'll link this article down below, of course. I love the idea of getting diversified. So if you in your business have not diversified in some way, shape, or form, it's never too late to start. It's one of those things where when you're looking to diversify, you want to get something that complements what you already are doing and bringing to the table. You don't want to get too far into the woods or something that's going to be totally different and doesn't enable, like, it's not an enabling acquisition or diversification. It's a disabling. So, and how would it be disabling? So, if you are diversifying your business, and we have three means of resources, right? Time, energy, and money. And you have to allocate those resources accordingly so that you don't run into the issue of uh, you know overextending yourself with energy or money or the time. You can get more time by adding more employees. You can get more energy by adding more employees. Money you can get more by selling more and by making sure that you're making a healthy profit on those things that you're selling. But ultimately, uh, I like the move because I think that Best Buy knows that they absolutely know that their retail days are numbered, or their mass retail days are numbered. And as it gets closer, like as that end game comes closer, they need to do actually a couple different things, and they've been working on those things for a couple of decades now, right? With the Geek Squad, offering services that people have to come for, offering in-home services that people have to have people come to their home for. By having that relationship of going to people's houses, it helps them potentially have this telehealth and patient monitoring service that they could have in the same kind of setup that they have the Geek Squad setup, where they have a central hub. And I don't know if it's still this way because it's been a while since I've kept up on it, but the way they used to have is they had like a central hub down in like Alabama or Arkansas. I don't know, one of those states down in America, middle America. And that's where they would, if you had like a real big problem with the laptop or computer, that's where you would send it to. So they try to fix the stuff there. They have their support center there, and they would call up for any issues they have. They dial back to them to run services, cleaning services and stuff on PCs. So that has been huge for them, right? And enabling them to be able to float, so much so that, like, you look at Staples, and Staples had Easy Tech and tried to replicate their Geek Squad, but Geek Squad is just so much far further reaching, installing home entertainment systems and things of that nature. That it is a great service that they have. So having home monitoring services, things, especially as people are home more, even with the pandemic subsiding, it's really it's a really good move for them to get into, because healthcare is not going away anytime soon, and to be able to be diversified in health is an excellent opportunity for them, especially if they have a health technology, right? And they're known for technology. You go to Best Buy to buy technology. Though they do have toys now as well, but you get that correlation there, and with a customer base, all of a sudden you have yourself a great opportunity to knock it out of the park with with. I would be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if this is also about the age demographic that they're catering to with the Geek Squad, right? An older demographic that needs their computers fixed, doesn't know how to do it, doesn't have someone else to come and do it for them. So they go to the Geek Squad, and well, that same demographic could probably use home patient monitoring, remote patient monitoring, and telehealth. So I think it's a great move. And I honestly I didn't know that they had owned two other healthcare companies. So it's just expanding it further into their diversification into that world. A record 4.3 million workers walked off the job in August. The number of people quitting their jobs is still smashing records. Now, this isn't talking for August. This article just came out yesterday. The number of job openings in August took a breather from the record highs it had been notching in recent months, but a record 4.3 million workers walked off the job, according to the Federal Job Openings and Labor Turnover Summary. Job openings fell from a record 10.9 million to 10.4 million, an unexpected drop that experts say that the could be attributed to contractions in commercial activity due to the Delta variant of the coronavirus, falling economic expectations, companies taking late summer breathers from hiring, statistical noise, or some combination of the above. The other thing I would say is when you talk about August, I'd like to see where did those numbers come into play. And the reason is because if it was at the end of summer, anybody who took summer jobs aren't going to stay doing summer jobs once summer ends and they got to go back to, they're going back to school and stuff. So that probably always plays a part in August numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if August numbers and maybe January numbers were always a bit higher than normal. If we look across the board, across broad cross sections of the economic metrics, we know there's been some moderation recently in forecasters' expectations. Says Mark Hamrick, the chief financial analyst at Bankrate. The International Monetary Fund shaved a percentage point off its growth projection for the U.S. gross domestic product this year, paring its forecast Tuesday from 7% to 6%. There continue to be a lot of remarkable cross currents in the economy. It stands to reason that there would be a cost to that with respect to employment. But with more than 10 million unfilled job openings, it is clear that more workers are seeking greener pastures. The rate of people quitting their jobs reached a record 2.9%, leading with increases among people leaving hotel, dining, and wholesale trade jobs. Given the fact that we have a lower employment levels overall, it's kind of incredible to see thousands of people quitting. Says Julia Pollock, the chief economist over at ZipRecruiter. She suggested that the continued desire to avoid jobs with a lot of in-person contact could be driving some of the migration. It's interesting to see how widespread these record quits are. What may be part of what's going on here is people are leaving these on-site sectors for more remote-friendly sectors. Job openings fell the most in two industries, which is healthcare and social assistance, and accommodation and food services sectors seismically affected by the long duration of the pandemic. Experts warn that the labor shortage is weighing on the ability of mom and pop businesses to thrive, and even in a growing number of cases to survive. The small business networking platform Alignable found that 1/3 of restaurant owners surveyed expressed doubt that they could make it through the holidays without going out of business. The inability to hire was cited as a key factor, said Alignable co-founder and CEO Eric Groves, who warned that other kinds of businesses that heavily depend on labor to generate revenue, such as personal services and transportation, face similar risks. Wherever labor is the critical element to revenue, it's a challenge. The problem is when you're short-staffed, you've got to give your staff a break so you can deliver the level of service you want. Grove said that the businesses of all stripes have had to raise pay on top of paying higher costs for supplies, ingredients, and other raw materials, but that many others struggled to find workers at all. And the new survey from the National Federation of Independent Business, or NFIB, found that a record 51% of small businesses reported being unable to fill jobs. It's an incredibly difficult time for those who have open positions to find and attract applicants, said Holly Wayne of the executive director of NFIB Research Center. For many of them, they're not receiving any applications. There are just no resumes coming in right now. She said, even though a record 42% of small businesses said they have increased pay, and 30% said they plan to do so in the next 3 months, Wade said high turnover is the existing workforce, or said higher turnover in the existing workforce aggravates the challenge. The shortage is increasingly weighing on business owners' outlook for the future. NFIB survey found that small business optimism fell and owner uncertainty rose. That weighs on plans for growth, such as capital investment. The survey found, despite the contraction in job openings, Wade said the labor shortage remains a cloud hanging over economic recovery. I don't see that this issue is easing up anytime soon. Small business owners are planning to have to deal with this well into 2022. Well, this echoes exactly what we've been talking about here on the Entrepreneurs day in and day out, that the rising costs of everything and the lack of being able to get labor, to be able to pay labor, and it is a vicious cycle that I don't know that raising interest rates will start to curtail or help curtail. And if you're struggling right now to be able to pay the people that you have to keep them, I think it's really, I think depending on what kind of industry you're in, it might behoove you to start, looking at passing the buck along. If you haven't already, pass that buck along of like, okay, we're I need to increase the pay in order to keep the skilled workers that I have, because getting any kind of workers in general is tough right now, and keeping them where they're at and where they're happy is not the easiest, on top of worker incentives, especially when you're competing with companies like Amazon and Walmart and Target. They're like, hey, like we'll pay you a lot more money than you're making right now, and we're going there, but the work that they're going to ask them to do is not the same, right? So if you have specialized people, a great example is this Louis Rossmann. If you're not a fan or know of Louis Rossmann, he runs a repair shop up in New York City. And through the pandemic, he went through and kept his, I think it was 14 employees. It hurt him through doing so, because he wasn't making as much money as he was before the pandemic, but he knew that being able to hold on to the skilled workers that he had was so critical. And now, coming through the pandemic, he's doing better because of the fact that he's not trying to keep, or having to go find new people, train new people, because the people that he would have let go would have just moved on and did something else with their time and with their money. So even though they didn't have as much work coming through, which is kind of weird, because the pandemic, has shown us that people are still buying electronics. Like, there's a chip shortage and all that, so like there's still a demand for this stuff. He decided he would keep his employees and keep paying them, and in some cases, when things were so slow, they would just be like out front, like tossing a football around or something, and when the shop's cleaned up and everything's good, but there's nothing going on, like, he's like, I'd rather pay them to do nothing, so that when times get good, I still have this pool of talent here, and they have remained loyal to him. I think one of the things here that a certain section of people have decided that they just aren't going to, they're not going to put up with any crap anymore. They're not going to sit back and be like, well, I really didn't like what I was doing, or I didn't like the people I was working for, I didn't like this or that. And they just decide, you know what, I'm just gonna bail. Like there's no, because when you looked around and you say, oh, United Airlines, right after their government subsidy ended, they let go 30,000 people like that, and then literally a month and a half later, are crying about a labor shortage. Oh, they can't get people. Like that's a lot of people. That's a lot, 30,000 people. Like 30,000. You're talking about resumes, trying to get people to come back, incentivize people to come to that industry. People at that point have already moved on. They decide, hey, well, why don't I try to get a remote working job? But like, why not? Why do I have to go to an office? Or why do I have to put up with this stuff? Like, let me go to something that fits my life better, the life that I want to live. I mean, I always preach that for the business owners, right? Build your business for your lifestyle, not your lifestyle for your business. And the same goes for people. You got to do the things that make you happy. We only get one chance at all this, right? And spending it miserable is not gonna is it's just miserable. There's no award at the end to say, hey, you did a good job. You did the thing, and we're proud of you for hanging in there and being miserable for 30 years of your life, or 40 years of your life, or 50 years of your life. Do the things that make you happy, and that's why, like, even with the entrepreneurs, the super entrepreneurs that I work with that are starting their own businesses, I always say, like, let's find where the passion is, right? And then we can start to work from that passion. What can we do? What can we accomplish? What business can you start that actually aligns with that passion, rather than, and it might be hard. It ain't easy. It ain't easy doing, starting a business. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody that of the 30,000 people, the 20,000 people, the 10,000 people, the 100,000 people that got laid off through the pandemic, or hundreds of thousands of people in general that got laid off through the pandemic, they all didn't just start businesses. Some of them did, but not all of them. And owning a business isn't necessarily for everybody, but I think that, if you're in a position where you're like, why should I, go through the trouble? Why should I go through, that there's no loyalty here for me? Why then? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. It's time to take a stand and do something. But the story of the Burger King where they put up on the sign, "We're sorry, we all quit." It comes to mind, and companies that enable and owners that enable poor management skills on themselves, as well as enabling poor management to take root in your organization and create toxic situations. I think you absolutely are going to pay the price. You're going to pay the price for that, and especially when you have competition by bigger companies than yours that are going to offer more benefits, more opportunities, more of a ladder to climb, less blockades in that ladder to be able to for them to scale and get somewhere higher with their life and their skills and their desires and their passions. It's going to be hard. So I think there's more to working somewhere than just how much money am I going to make. There's more than just benefits and how much time off, right? But there's the management skills, and that's one of the reasons I say sales won't save your business, because it will not save your business. You absolutely have to do everything that you can do to create a great team culture, a great offer, and build the processes for the team and the customers to go through that makes them want to be there and want to interact with you and the rest of the company and all the customers that come along with it. And if you're not willing to step up and do those things, then you're going to pay the price. You're absolutely going to be paying the price, because these big companies are just swallowing up people for the holiday season. And these small businesses, unfortunately, good and or bad, are going to be left in the dust, which I think that That's why you got to go and you got to work hard to figure out what can I do, what can I offer, what can I pivot that these other companies can't offer.